Hello everyone, we are going to do a gazpacho for today. Now, I haven't made one before, but from my mom's reaction to me telling her that I'm making one, she is pretty disappointed, and probably because she doesn't like gazpacho, but I'm giving it a try anyways, and hopefully it comes out better than she expects. Now, first off, we start with the tomatoes. Now, I'm making a rather small batch, but it still requires a large amount of tomatoes. I first cut the tomato in half, making sure to take out the stem part, and then de-seeding it into a separate bowl. I just squeeze out the seeds, making sure to use my finger to get any excess, and then I start cutting them into fourths and eighths to cut them into dice-sized, pieces, to make it easier for me to puree the entire batch. Now, as I'm doing this, it's a rather long process, so I'm probably listening to music right now. Pack AD by, or Everyone Looks Like Everyone by the Pack AD is one of my favorites from the Canadian television show Letterkenny. Next up, I do the green bell peppers. Now I'm de-seeding them, cutting them into match-sized sticks to dice them easier, and yeah, it's a pretty simple process since it's just all dicing. Now next, I de-skin the cucumber, making sure to do the same, dicing them and putting them into match-size julienne sticks and just dicing them pretty easily. After that, I clean my cutting board. Next up is the garlic. Now I'm just mincing them, going over them a few times each, just to make sure that they come out about the size as crushed pepper. Now, this is probably my favorite part of the process of cutting. Garlic is pretty easy to cut and pretty fun too. So after that, I start cleaning up my pork area, so then I can move on to the actual mixing. Now, I get a bowl big enough to hold all of my ingredients, and what we are going to do now is just pour these ingredients in. And first, I have tomatoes. I gotta get all of the tomatoes in. Just all of them. Next up, the peppers. After that is the cucumbers. Just gotta make sure I get all of it in. Finally, the garlic. And I know what you're probably thinking. Why do I have red wine vinegar and olive oil in front of me? Well, this recipe requires these two things, unless it were to just taste like vegetables, just a vegetable smoothie. Now, first up, I put about 2 fluid ounces of the red wine vinegar. Now, these are new bottles since my red wine vinegar that I had was expired, to say the least. So, I just pour it into a measuring cup, just to make sure that I get the right amount. See? You can see how focused I am. And just pour it in. Make sure that it goes up to the 2-ounce line. And then after that, I just pour it straight on top. I probably should have drizzled to make it more evenly spread out since I'm going to be mixing this. But yeah. Next up is the olive oil. Now, my mom said not to use just regular olive oil since apparently regular olive oil is more meant for cooking. I needed to use something meant for like eating, something better tasting than just regular cooking olive oil. So I got this extra virgin from Spain olive oil. I don't really know the brand too much. I just got it from my local Stater Bros. Now I'm making sure to put in about 4 fluid ounces this time, so it's about 1 part red wine vinegar and 2 parts olive oil. Now this nozzle is kind of small, so it takes a long time for it to come out, which is probably a good thing because my hands are pretty shaky and it'll probably just all fall out at once if I were to take off the nozzle. So once I got that, I actually drizzle it on top now, and once that's complete, I just have to mix it up. So let's get to the mixing. Now, I clean up my work area just to make it easier for me to mix. get a couple of spoons really, and I just mix them around. It's pretty simple and a pretty easy recipe to do, since it just requires tomatoes, cucumbers, bell pepper, and olive oil and red wine vinegar. Oh, and not to forget the garlic, which is my favorite ingredient. So I just mix them, making sure to get it evenly spread out, making sure that the garlic is also evenly spread out as to not have big chunks of garlic just in one clump. Now, once this is done, this has to marinate overnight. So I'm going to put this in my fridge, and we'll see it in the morning. Let me get that. Good morning. It is the next day, which is Friday, and I'm going to be pureeing this with an immersion blender, which I have never done this before, but hopefully it goes well. Now I'm going to be putting it in this big bowl as to make sure that it doesn't spill everywhere, which I am 99% sure it does. So just got to make sure to pour all of this into my blue bowl, making sure to clear my area, and I just use this immersion blender, and hopefully it goes well. Now with this, it's a blade on the inside, so I don't want to get my finger caught in this, but hopefully I don't. So I just put it in, doing sort of an up and down motion, but not hitting the trigger to blend when it's out of the bowl, as to not have the puree spill everywhere. Now I'm just getting all of the big chunks first to sort of get them into smaller pureed chunks. Just repeatedly doing this over and over again. And it's quite a lengthy process. Now, as this is going, how's your day? Oh. Oh, really? Oh. That's great. I'm happy for you. You know, that kind of reminds me of me making this video. Or really any video that I've done so far. You know, just last minute thing, but coming out fairly okay. Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know how you felt about my videos. Okay, I didn't. I mean, okay, I see. I don't even know why you watch them then. Oh, you didn't mean it? Okay, yeah, sure. Okay. That's really cute. That's very funny of you. Well, you know what? We'll just forget about it. Okay? Okay? The puree is almost done. You can just watch the rest of the video. I don't care. You don't have to watch it. Sorry about that. Well, after that's done, we have the puree, and it's looking good. And so after I clean this up, let's plate it. Back at the plating area. This is pretty much done. It looks pretty good. I made sure to put some garnish on top, which is just some little bits of tomato, cucumber, and bell peppers that I had, along with some parsley because I didn't have cilantro. Though I don't really like parsley, it's far too minty, and I'd rather prefer it would be cilantro, but it looks good, so I'm still gonna eat it. And let's taste this thing. And judging from my face, which you cannot see, it's actually pretty good. It went pretty well. I don't think I'd eat it by itself. I'd probably eat it with like toast or some sort of like baguette bread. Something like dry and carby would probably taste good with this, like spread on top or dipped. Just anything really. My mom said she'd like it with steak, but I really don't understand that, so. But we did pretty well. This was an easy recipe to make. Literally just like a couple things and then pureed. So, yeah. That is cooking for Culinary Week 7. Gazpacho. Now, I'm going to be finishing this on my own time, and hopefully my family members also eat it and my mom thinks it's good, so peace.